Welcome back to Switch to Linux and another Distro Wars. And today we're going to look at Manjaro versus Solus. This is one that somebody asked me to have a look at, and I had an initial conflict. Which versions? Solus has 4 basic versions, and if I pull up my list here so I can remember exactly which ones they are, of course they created the Budgie desktop, and so Solus is going to be best on Budgie, but they also have official GNOME, Mate, and Plasma builds. Manjaro, on the other hand, it has a few various options, and one of the, I'll pull up the additions here real quick. So they have official, they have community, they have ARM, and they have development stuff. So under the official ones, these are ones that officially from the Manjaro team, you have Architect, GNOME, Plasma, XFCE. And then in the community, you have Awesome, BSPOM, Budgie, Cinnamon, i3, LXDE, LXQT, Mate, and OpenBox. I didn't want to cross over and do a community build, so it was pretty much down to GNOME or Plasma. Both have official builds for the distros. And since we look at GNOME probably more frequently, just because it's used more frequently, I decided today to go with Plasma. So we'll be having a look at these guys with the perspective of Plasma. And really, we're not going to say much about the desktop environment as a whole. I'm not going to concern myself with the desktop environment or anything like that. What we are going to concern ourselves with mostly here is going to be the package management, because that's really the biggest difference between these two. They both theme things excellent out of the box. They both tend to run well. They both are very mainline distributions. Manjaro, of course, is based on Arch, so anything that you do in Arch, you're going to see the ability to use with inside of Manjaro. And Solus is its own ground-up Linux, so it's not based on Ubuntu, not based on Arch, not based on Debian. It's its own ground-up Linux, which carries with it some of its own advantages and its disadvantages. So let's go ahead and have a look first by going to their websites and poking around over there. So on Manjaro, they launched this new website here a little while back. You can come over here, hit the Try Manjaro button, and then you have the splash screens with the basics. So XFCE is what I consider their most core build. We have the Plasma, we have the GNOME, we have the Architect. Now the Architect is going to be a terminal-based installer. I've done videos about this. This is an excellent distribution. I could have taken the route using Architect, going through and building a Budgie out of it, but I decided not to do that for the simple reason that it would give me something that's a lot more customizable. I could choose how the system is built, and I wouldn't have the same out-of-the-box experience as a standard basic new user might experience. So I decided not to go with that and go with the Plasma. If you head on up to the additions up here at the top of the screen and go down to community, this is where you find these. The community builds, they're frankly just as good as the official builds. It's just that I didn't want to do community versus an official build. Under the ARM, we do have Pinebook, Pine Tab, we have Raspberry Pi builds, which I've looked at. So we have a lot of different builds in here. So Manjaro does have a lot of widespread hardware use. Not quite as much as pure Arch or Debian, but for sure it does. The Solus website over here at getsol.us, this guy over here, it's a really nice, clean website. It's easy to navigate. You can find your help center over here, which is very simple. In fact, we're going to be looking mostly at package and stuff. So it looks like my website. No, my website's good. I thought my website might have frozen. Get into your package management. Here's kind of your basics over here. And you can see that everything in here is really good. One of the things we'll notice is that Solus uses EO package, whereas Manjaro is going to use Pacman. And so we're going to get into that a little bit. EO package isn't a whole lot different than apt. It's install package name, install. Maybe it's closer to DNF, because when you go the upgrade, you don't have to go through an update first. It'll do the update when you go to install software or install upgrades. Very similar to what DNF is going to do. So DNF from OpenSUSE or I don't know, maybe OpenSUSE has it. I know Fedora has it, but Anyway, that's your basics of your website. So let's go ahead and boot up, and we are going to go ahead and look at Manjaro first. All right, so here we are on the login screen, and I'm just going to go ahead and enter my super secret password. That's definitely not 123. Go ahead and log on into here, and then we will land on our desktop. So Manjaro does a really good job of paying attention to the fine details. It's just their builds, all of them are just gorgeous out of the box. They utilize all their own custom theming. They really make the operating system look good, clean, and modern. So even if you're running something like a Mate version, it still looks good and modern rather than something else. Oh, hey, there's our drop-down terminal. Not sure why that loaded out of the box, but it is there. You can actually get to it down here. Is it Yakuk? I don't know how to pronounce that. But you hit this button here and you get a drop-down terminal going up. Here is the welcome screen when you first get logged into here. So we have a lot of information, softwares, development, get involved. We have our applications. So this is one of the package managers that they have. This is just a very clean, simple list where you can go ahead and jump on in here and just grab the most common software. It's not going to contain everything, but it does contain the most common software you will find. Of course, on the installer, you have the choice whether you want to install FreeOffice, LibreOffice, or nothing else. And they actually have a variety of other Office builds in here as well. Now, really the stand-apart thing for Manjaro is it does actually also have the Pamuk software manager. And Pamuk is probably why I think Manjaro is going to win this, this particular discussion here. So when you boot up Pamuk, this will have all of the software available in the Pacman repositories and any other repositories that you enable. When you come into Pamuk, if you want to use other things like the Arch user repository, or you want to use snaps, you want to use Flatpaks, any of that type of stuff, you actually have the ability to come in here and do this. No distribution has streamlined the use or disuse of any of these services like Manjaro has done. So, you know, I love Linux Mint. They do not like snaps as a philosophy. I understand why they did not want to have a simple toggle button like this to include it. Manjaro takes a more neutral approach, but realizes some people don't want to see snaps. So you come in here, toggle it off. You will not see snaps show up. Turn it on. Now snaps are going to show up in your basic package search. You can do the same with the Arch user repository and with Flatpaks. So once you go ahead and do that, now anytime you do a search for something, you're going to get a show up and it's going to tell you exactly where it is. So I like to use the KDE Live as a good default search for this because there are versions in each individual repository. They've also done an excellent job of showing you which one you're installing. So Top KDE Live is the official repository. The second KDE Live you can see is coming from the Snap repository. You'll see it is slightly older than the repository because Manjaro is based on Arch and always gets the fastest things rolling out. And you'll actually see here that the Flatpak version down here is just about as caught up as the official Arch repositories, but not quite as much as Snap. But I can very clearly see which one I want. Do I want to run this from an official repository or as a Snap or as a Flatpak? And Manjaro makes it easiest to give us that individual choice. And if you want to turn them off later, just go ahead and toggle these guys back off at a later date. There's no problem with that. You can also come in here, you can set how many versions of each package to keep. So if you need to downgrade things, you can only remove versions of uninstalled packages. So you have a lot of different things. Here's mirrors. You can use mirrors from wherever you want to set your mirrors to. So if I'm here in the United States, I might want to go down and find United States and find some mirrors from over here. Just make it a little bit easier to work with. So refresh this. Now it's going to be pulling software from closer to home rather than anywhere else. So really Pamuk is the thing that causes Manjaro to stand out more than anybody in that we have so many options for package management within it. You can see on the desktop how beautiful it is. We do have updates to the system. This will pull down your individual updates and the Manjaro logo. I believe this will still give us some kernel management. So if we need to change the the kernel, we can go ahead and do that. There you go. Right click it there. There's your kernels. And then you'll have the ability to select which kernel we're running. So we can see we're on 5.8. I could go to 5.9, or I could go up to the experimental 5.10 release candidate. So you have an option of what you're going to be doing with your kernel settings. These are basic Manjaro settings, language packages, user accounts, hardware configurations, and things like that. As far as everything else, as I said, we're not going to go into the Plasma desktop itself, but you can see if you've used KDE at all that this is not a standard KDE theming. It is using all of its own custom work. Now, if you do want to manage things with the terminal, you actually have the ability to just drop down the terminal, or you can load up a standard window one, and we could do a sudo pacman, and then SYU is going to check for any packages. So this is a great way to do that. I just upgraded this about a couple hours ago. I'm actually totally surprised there's no updates. I mean, we're going on 4 hours, guys. Arch, what are you doing? There's no updates. What are you doing, Arch? But anyway, so that is Manjaro. Out of the box, you're going to find it works very well. Some people have complained that the Manjaro forums are sometimes nasty RTFM type guys. Other people have said it's the greatest, friendliest forums. So we can't really say for sure which one is going to give you better support. I do know that there have been a few snafus with Manjaro, a few of them not too long ago where things did not get updated as quickly as they should have, and Arch should be updated more frequently than not. And because of that, it did cause a little bit of instabilities in Manjaro. That has been known to occur from time to time, but it's not as common as one may think. But there is Manjaro. So let's go ahead and have a look at our Solus Plasma next. So here we are on the login screen for Solus. The first thing that irritated me on Solus is on the installation, it would not allow me to choose my super secret password that's definitely not 123. I do not like it when a distribution tells me that's a weak password, pick another one, because I very well may be using this on a temporary basis on a virtual machine. I'm okay if you give me a warning, like in Fedora. I'm not sure if they still do it, but back in the day, if it was a weak password, you had to click confirm. I am aware I'm using a weak password, use it anyway. You had to click the confirm button a couple times. Okay. And so with that, my apologies, somebody's sending me text messages. So with that, I do not like it when a distribution forces me to pick a stronger password, because it's my system, it's my choice. Let me know what I want to do. Now, I was able to come in here in the terminal and just use password reset to change my password or whatever I wanted. And since it's a terminal tool, it doesn't really care. Nevertheless, we land on our desktop, and now we are here on Plasma, and it does look just as good. And like we said before, we're not going to go into all the theme settings. I think this is, I don't think this is an exact theme that comes with Plasma, so they have themed it a little bit. I do like what they're doing on their theming. It does look quite nice. Now, as far as what we were mentioning, though, is package management is the primary thing we are looking at. Now, the biggest problem that we have with Solus is since it is ground up, it does not utilize repos from Arch or Debian or anything else. And so all of the software we have available is software that is curated. The good news about that is that all of that software is going to work with the system. The bad news is they've thrown out a lot of software that just doesn't get put in here for whatever reason. Now, we do have a lot of software still. You can still get pretty much any basic software package you might want. So here's LibreOffice, which you should be able to install the full LibreOffice package suite as well, or maybe you just do the individuals. I don't know. We do have an update manager over here. You can check for updates in the GUI. There was a time way back early in the day that last I knew has been completely resolved where updating in the GUI actually crashed the system. That was an old bug that is now since fixed. Here's a list of everything that is installed, and then we have some third party as well. So on the third party, you can get Flash. I wonder if they're going to take that out when Flash is considered officially dead soon. We have Google Chrome, Android Studio, Google Earth, Spotify, Skype. So you have a lot of these different pieces of software, and I can't remember how these ones are being installed. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out is while the software is limited, it does have support for Flatpak and Snap, but they don't have any GUI support out of the box. So if you're using Solus, what you're going to need to do is either learn how to manage your software in the terminal, or you can install software stores. Now, in an old Reddit post, you could install the Snap Web, which I don't think exists anymore, but we do have the Snap Store. It is configured out of the box, and so I can't remember if you have to do Snap with sudo or not. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So sudo snap install. I think it's either called Snap Store or Snap Dash Store. I can't remember which one it is. So we'll go ahead and try them both. Too early for adoption, device not yet seeded, or device. Huh, really? Interesting. I thought that was the way to do that. Let's see. Okay, there it goes. Snap Dash Store works. So what this is going to do is if you want to be able to manage your snaps in the GUI, just go ahead and sudo snap install snap dash store. This is going to download the Snap Store, and now you will be able to check for any snaps in a GUI application. Otherwise, you need to go online and you need to grab more information. Now, there is no such GUI that I know of as of now for Flatpak, so if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments. You can actually go to the Flatpak website. We'll do it while the Snap Store is connecting itself. And what we'll do now is we'll pull up the website. We'll head on over to FlatHub, and then it'll actually give us direct instructions for installing on Solus. So let's just go with Flatpak through Google. Excuse me, it's using Google. I threw up in my mouth a little bit. But anyway, over here with Flatpak, you can come on down here and find your Solus logo, and then it tells you how to set it all up. So we have install Flatpak, XDG desktop portal, and then add the FlatHub repository. I don't know if this will actually, if this portal's a GUI application or not. I actually failed to check that. Some things I forgot to look into when I was doing this. But doing some basic searching around on Solus's page, they did actually say on their official page they don't know of a way to manage them with the GUI yet. So there we are. Snap Store should be installed. So now we have a Snap Store. Let's see what our Snap Store allows us to do. Who knows? Maybe this will give us Flatpak support too. Let's go shopping. Let's have a look. So the first take-home message is Solus out of the box, while it's good and things are going to work, we are going to see that we don't have GUI set up for Snap Store out of the box. Maybe it might be nice if they did that, as much as I'm not a huge fan of them. But at the same time, you know, depending on what you're looking at. Okay, so here's from Snap. Here's our versions. We have Snapcraft, 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 Snapcraft. So everything here is Snap. It's not giving us any Flatpak options. But now we have the entirety of the Snap repository available to us in a GUI platform, or you can just head on back into the terminal and do that. Should we go ahead and give these a try? I have not actually tried these guys. I'm pretty sure Flatpak is already installed out of the box. You can see here we're doing EO package. This is how you manage packages in the terminal. There are extra package dependencies. Do you want to continue? Sure, why not? So with EO package, as I said earlier at the beginning, it's very similar to DNF. You can just go ahead and apply your upgrades just with EO package upgrade, and it will automatically check the repositories first. No need to update like apt has. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Enter our super secret password. And now, in theory, we will have support for FlatHubs. So I'm pretty sure that does not give us anything GUI that we can use. But let's go ahead and double check one more thing over here on Flatpak. Because the website, depending on your system, you actually have the ability to install things from the individual systems. So let's see if we can grab the complete list. And oh, come on. Just give me, I don't want that. Give me Flatpak. Let's go with Flatpak GIMP. And literally, it's like I had this I had this website earlier, and now I just can't find it because we're recording live, and of course, every single time, that's the first thing on the list. There you go. So now we have an install button on the Flatpak website. You can see it's just going to default Kate, which is a text editor. So we're not going to be able to install with the GUI. We'll have to do everything installing Flatpaks from the terminal. So that's your downside on Solus, is if there's software that you need that is not in the repository because the repository is going to be limited, you are going to have to learn how to install Flatpaks with the terminal. Everything else other than that, you're going to have a lot of solid, strong stability on both of these guys. Neither one's actually going to give you any serious headaches. Both of them have excellent user support. They both look great out of the box, and they're going to work for you. So as far as declaring a clear winner here, I'm actually going to give it to Manjaro today. The reason is, out of the box, we have GUI support or GUI disabling of Flatpak Snap's Arch user repository. We have a more mature and much more robust package management with more software available to us through Arch. And so we're going to have a few more options depending on what we are doing. That being said, Solus is still an excellent choice. So if you're debating about which one you want to use, if you don't want to mess with Arch, Solus is an excellent choice. If you do need that full thing and you're like, I'm not intimidated by Arch, go ahead and use Arch because it's really going to work out well. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on all these guys in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.